Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Author's Quill. I hope everyone is having a great day. I know for us poor people in the South, it is now summertime. Yes, and officially it's not, but as far as we're concerned, it's summertime. For my friends out west, not been that bad. I was talking to one of my friends in Northern California the other day. He was talking about 51 degrees. I was like, what? And then, matter of fact, I was talking to one of our hosts in Pennsylvania last night. He was talking about 51 degrees. I'm like,
Yeah, 68 right now here in LA.
See, that's just not fair. It's 94 out here right now. I'm going to probably get up to about 95, 96 today. That's full-blown summer for us. I don't know why they say, oh, y'all still in spring. No, we're in summer. They need to change the calendars around a little bit. Yes, Chris, we're full-blown summer now, and we will be like this. We don't like to see it get hot early because that usually means a nasty hurricane season. We tend to like to see it get hot, stay cool earlier in the season, and that makes it better for us. But I have some famous people with me tonight. Yes, very famous people. Yes. We have John Goodwin, who co-hosts with me quite often on here. And we got a lot of good stuff coming up about that, too. And we got some futuristic stuff coming up we're going to be doing with some people and some interviews that y'all have not heard that were done while we were in. Well, he's got quite a few coming up, and I've got another. I just got through playing two. But there's some really good ones that I want y'all to get to hear. It's interviews that you're not going to get to hear anywhere else. The one with Pat Henry is hilariously funny. I mean, it's the one with Orson Scott Card is also hilariously funny. Those are both really good ones. But there's also some pretty serious interviews in there. You're going to hear one that I did with Chelsea, and we'll get into that when the interview's in. It's a really good interview. It's coming up in. Is it next week? It's either next week or the week after. I got to be checked to be sure, but I'll send it out to everyone so y'all can catch it. And of course, our guest tonight is Echo Chernik, the award-winning fabulous Echo Chernik. Yes, we call her the Empress when we're at Writers of the Future. I'm just telling y'all. Yes, we do. She don't know it, but we know it. You see how that works?
But no,
but she does really fabulous work, which we're going to get into a few minutes. But John, before we start harassing Echo. So any good stuff coming? I know you got a lot of good interviews coming into the queue pretty soon, so I'm be seeing them pretty steady.
Yeah, that. But the main thing we're excited about is the book officially released this past week. We have the trade paperback, the ebook, and the audiobook, which is recorded by Jim Meskimen, Tamara Meskimen, Taylor Meskimen, and for the we have the one story that's the British story that's was recorded by Victoria Summer. I don't know if you met her or not. But
name sounds familiar.
Yeah, she's the one that did the story that took place in UK by the two sisters that were also the UK sisters. So those are all right now. So that we're very excited to just keep on. For me, shamelessly promoting it, saying, "Come on, guys, we're looking for making 20."
We're all shamelessly promoting it. So don't feel bad.
Yeah.
It's actually it's pretty much everywhere you can find it. I'm gonna be getting with somebody who works with John about putting them on a full out YouTube. A Roku ad. So that's there. It's a clickable ad and it's a live play of it. And by the way, while I'm on that, ladies and gentlemen, those ads will be available to everyone listening to the network pretty soon. There's lots of different combinations. They're going to be a lot of just strictly Roku ads, but there's a lot of combinations that drag it into the podcast and the FM and stuff like that. And I know Jamie Lee's listening tonight. Yes. So anything you tell me about them engineers is a big help. We got a lot of stuff going on, guys. It's just, we hit this year running. So we're trying to maybe triple the size of our audience, which is just nightmarish to even think about. I know we've tripled the size of our hosting staff. I mean, Lord have mercy. Last time I talked with Michelle, I think we're almost at 40 shows, which will put us at close to 60 hosts, which Echo's going to be joining in just a few minutes. We're going to talk about that. And I can't wait to see her shows, man. Yeah, well, I'll be producing them, so I'll get to see them. You never know who's going to produce your show. Some people are allowed to produce their own shows, and most hosts end up getting there sooner or later. But it's either myself, Michelle, or Laura Lee. One of the three of us usually are producing. It just depends what show it is and what time it is. It just because we're all in different time zones. That's why. Yeah, Laura Lee's somewhere in Saskatchewan, Canada. Simply, I'm always like, where is that again? Is that like where nobody goes? Even Santa don't visit there? She's like, it's way the hell up there, people. And Michelle's in Ontario, I believe, Niagara Falls. And then we have other hosts scattered basically from one end of Canada to the other end. And yet we're looking at maybe even bringing on one more Canuck. So, yes, if you're Canadian and you want to be on air, you better talk to Michelle fast before there's no more slots for you people. Now, Echo is almost a Canadian, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. I mean, she's close, man. I mean, she's like just close.
I can wave to the Canadians. So
that's right. Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, Woody.
But getting back to what John and I were talking about just now about shamelessly plugging. The 40th, matter of fact, I got one right here. Look at this. I actually even have one by me. So this is the one we're actually talking about. So this is not what we're talking about today. Well, we will be shamelessly plugging in throughout the show, but this is not actually what the show is about. Isn't that great?
That is a hot cover.
So we all know the artist of this cover. We're not going to mention his name because he makes too much money now. But I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's Dan DeSantis. I'm sorry. He's but he's a fabulous artist and he stays busy. Somebody asked me the other day, "You think I could get a commission off him?" I said, "Well, you could find his email and email him and ask him." He said, "Well, can't you ask him?" I said, "Why would I call a man and ask him that?" I said, "I wouldn't even know where to begin talking to him about that kind of stuff." I said, "I like to harass him about what he's drinking, not what he's drawing." I said, "So send it in." But every time I talk to Dan, he's busy. I mean, whether we're doing an interview with him, whether we're having cocktails with Tom or somebody, Echo or somebody, he's just a busy man. He stays busy.
He is so nice, though.
He is a sweetie pie. Well, he's a sweetie pie unless you're in his class, and that changes now. Let's not keep now, people. He expects you to pay attention when you're in his class. That's all I'm saying. Echo is the same way. I'm not saying nothing. They don't waste their time. Their time is money these days, people. So don't waste it. Now, John's out there just saying. Matter of fact, I got something from Joni today plugging something. I got to go look and see what she sent me. I just seen it in my email a few minutes ago. So, but we are everybody who is at Writers of the Future that is associated with in one way, shape, form, or another is plugging this. Whether it's the winners, whether it's the judges, whether it's the press, whether it's John himself, whether it's the boss lady Emily, somebody's plugging this. And the reason why is y'all have to know it's out there. If we don't tell you it's out there, how are you going to know it's out there? There's a lot of good stories in it, a lot of great artwork in it, and a lot of fun people. This year's crowd was actually fabulous. I had fun with all the authors, all the illustrators. I have never actually, in the 5 of these that I've covered, I have never seen the illustrators this chatty. There's always a couple, but not like this year. They were all chatty. It was like last year it was Sarah and April. And so when we say Sarah and April, they just took over, man. Them two are whirlwinds. But usually there's always 2 or 3. But this year they were all chatty. I mean, we got them on the air with us, and they were just chatting up. Usually that's the authors that are all chatty like that, which it was just a good group of people. They were very, very photo radio friendly, I guess is what I would say. I just finished
collaborating on a project with April Solomon.
April's an amazing, insane woman. I seen her at.
She's amazing. Yeah,
I seen her when she stopped by at the other one. And no, she is. She's a lot of fun, and I've known her for 2 years now, and she's just a lot of fun. And I bump into her on Instagram from time to time. We are on each other's accounts, and she is a big fan of yours and a big fan of Larry's. I mean, she calls Larry Emperor. Emperor Larry. We're talking about Larry Elmore, people. Pretty much everybody knows.
And Bob's.
And Bob's. But the thing of it is, people tell me all the time, well, we know Larry Elmore from Dungeon Dragons. I said, yeah, but he's done a few more things than that. I said, you'd be surprised. Why don't you look up his name and see what he's actually done throughout his career? I said he's had some interesting stuff. But anyway, we have Echo with us today because Echo is going to be joining us officially next week as a show. Now she's going to be nuzzled in between John and I. Lucky. You don't even know how lucky you are to get that slot, girl. I mean, you just don't even know. I know. Michelle must like you to put you in between the two of us because we're doing really good. So.
Maybe she thinks you guys need to put a little buffer in there. You need to be separated a little bit.
No, it's good. It's actually good because it'll be author, illustrator, author. It'll work out really nice. And so
I was kind of excited when we were talking about that. I think it really is kind of a nice fit because it's
a good place for you because it'll help you. It'll help your numbers go up a lot faster too. Be in between us because John's doing. What are you averaging right now? 1.3, 1.4, somewhere between, somewhere up in there. And this one's not much higher, about 1.5, 1.6. So you've got basically 3 million people you've been nestled in between. So you'll pick up the start of my audiences on about midway through your show, and you'll carry his audience coming into your show. So then remember, this is going to be author audiences, so it's going to be up to you how many you keep. But what is that Ricky had? You never know how many you're going to keep in the beginning. they have to get used to
one thing too, I just wanted to say, we got 2 great reviews that have come in for Writers of the Future. This is Library Journal, which is the top review magazine for libraries. And this is really nice. The verdict, because they go through, do a whole review. Then the final thing is verdict. The latest entry in the annual series has something for every SF and fantasy reader, from the blackness of space to the power of magic and all of the places and planes in between. So that was like a really nice review we got from her. And then we just got one in this morning from, let me just open that one up again, from Midwest Book Review. And that's also a library review. And L. Ron Hubbard was a visionary in the realm of science fiction and creating the contest a long time ago. L. Ron Hubbard Rise to the Future Volume 40 proves that the competition has long-lasting legs that continue to grow. And he talks about the event, and then he concludes, the gangbuster of science fiction short story collections continues to excel with the newest installment of Volume 40. And he goes on to, he talks about there that the Rise of the Future continues to be a major force in the genre of science fiction. So that's when they said repeatedly, nothing does more for the future of science fiction and fantasy than Writers of the Future. So those are 2 really nice reviews that anybody listening, even 2 more reasons to make sure you get your copy of the book, because I can promise you there's going to be something that anybody that enjoys science fiction or fantasy that you're going to find that you're going to enjoy.
Yeah,
awesome.
There's lots of reasons to get the book. There's lots of goods. Echo kind of guided these people, by the way, when we talk about art. So how do they pick the stories, the artists? I mean, this, I don't. So when you match up the artist to the story, or the author, I should say, how do you go about doing it? I'm curious.
Well, after the artists are chosen, and they're announced as winner, or they're chosen as winners, and then the writers get they're announced as winners as well. They're chosen as winners. Maliva actually goes through and reads the story. She's the editor, and she tries to match the winning artist with a story that suits their style, so that they are assigned a story that fits what already is in their winning pieces. For instance, if they do a lot of landscapes, she's not going to put them with a very character-driven winner, because she wants to try to. We want to make sure that the artist is able to illustrate something that they're comfortable illustrating, so that they have the best chance to win the grand prize in illustration. Because if you assign them a story that they're not comfortable illustrating, they're going to struggle more with it. So we want to make sure that we give them a story that they can really kind of get into and do their best work with. And once they're assigned their story, it's my job to help encourage them and guide them so that they can do their best work, in order to come up with an illustration that is, at the strongest it can be. So she really reads through to make sure that they have the best, as an editor, to have their best story that possible. It's a good fit for their style. So
that woman could not stay still if her life depended on it. And she tell when I was giving her trouble about running around. She said, "Well, that's because most of the year I'm sitting here doing this behind a desk." I said, "Even at a desk, I can't imagine you not wiggling around or doing something. I just can't believe it." She just because she was I was picking on her when we were there. Which, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have somewhere in all the pictures I'm posting, you'll see Maliva. It'll say Maliva underneath it. She's like one of my favorite people to pick on. I'm surprised she hasn't smacked me by now, to be honest with you. But she is a very nice person.
There's such a. I'm glad that my spot is so close to your spot and John's spot, because there's just such a nice art and writing goes together. There's such a blend, and I think that the audiences that like the stories also have a good appreciation for the art as well, and so I think they'll be interested in hearing what I have to say about illustration and the creation of illustration, and just
absolutely. The reviews coming in to talk about the value of illustration and just the quality of the art that is provided in the book. It's just it totally shot up several notches when you took over and started doing the art direction.
Because she's fabulous.
Oh, absolutely. But these guys need before it was kind of like up to their own devices earlier on. And sometimes it would score, sometimes it wouldn't, but once we started going into the trade paperbacks and having all the color, it was important to have proper art direction on it because it could really show off an artist's talent. And it could also show that they weren't directed to fully utilize their talent. And that's important to have that.
Yeah.
What's going to be interesting is because John and I do Illustrator sometimes too. So people are not going to know you here until they come get on the show. They'll be like, "Oh, well, wait, Echo's there." Yes, and she might be listening to you. I better be paying attention.
The show just happened before this. It was Echo. That's
what I'm saying.
It was Echo. Yeah.
Yep. Well, authors, writers, and illustrators, we think differently and visualize differently. So one of the things I'll probably eventually address that I do occasionally talk about is working with writers, because writers, when they try to talk to illustrators about how to illustrate their story, they don't necessarily know how to convey what they're thinking to an illustrator, and it often ends up a jumbled mess. And so I often talk to the illustrators about how to work with writers, and I often talk to the writers about how to work with illustrators, because they don't necessarily, it's difficult sometimes for them to translate to each other how they're thinking, because they think in like two different languages. They don't necessarily, they have to trust their illustrators, and their illustrators have to trust
they have to. They really have to. John, when I was talking with Echo about this show, I said, "Do you know who Bob Ross is?" If you could have seen her face, it was
hello.
It was like, I wish I would have.
You had the same reaction. You know who Frank Benetti is.
I know it was fabulous though.
Same order of magnitude.
Because I was talking with a local publisher down here the other day, and he was asking me about new shows, and I was telling her about this one. I was just telling him about the Saturday lineup, and I said, "Yeah," I'm gonna call it the Bob Ross of, and then he said, "What?" I said, "Well, you'll have to come watch and see." He was like, "So he's gonna definitely check it out." He's every now and then I get to hang out with some local media. It's just or some local producers. It's just Louisiana has such a weird thing when it comes to authors and illustrators. They have such a weird taste. When you walk down Royal Street and you're looking at all the galleries down there, I think there's 50 on Royal Street alone. People, they're not huge galleries. They're 1,000 square foot, 1,500 square foot, but they're all packed with artwork everywhere. And some of this stuff is very, very old. I mean, you move and you're choking off the dust. It's done got a sheet of dust, and probably good because it's probably protecting the oil underneath it. But it's just some weird stuff. So he said, "Well, I'm really interested. I think you went and checked out some of your work actually," because he had called me back, and I said, "Well, can I talk to her?" I said, "Yeah, let her get settled into the show." And I said, "Maybe I'll invite you on, or you can give her a call or something." He's like, no telling what he wants, because I was telling they're looking. I think they're looking for their new Mardi Gras person again for the new posters. I heard something the other day, and that's a gig. If they like you, they keep you. They kept Larry Harris, I think, for like 10 years. He did the Angels and Angel and Devils the whole 10 years. But he did it a different way each time, and I was like, okay. Some were really good. Some were like, "What are you doing, dude? You were smoking something that day, weren't you?" But yeah, I tell people all the time, especially when I'm at Writers of the Futures, don't ask me who's going to win, because I always get it wrong every damn time. I have now tried 5 different times to pick who's the winner is going to be of both the authors, and not even close. Matter of fact, April asked me when we were there. I said, "Don't ask April. I don't want to say I like your artwork. I want to say."
I did
good.
I was just to say, I did the cleanup logo for Katrina for like the cleanup. It was like a pro bono job for they asked me to do like a logo for it was like a Mardi Gras logo cleanup. But it was for like Katrina cleanup.
Yeah, for cleanup.
So it was like a corporate logo cleanup thing. I'm not sure.
We probably had it stuck in our trucks and stuff.
They probably did.
Oh no, we probably did, because when we were down in the city. And so when we go down there, because at first they didn't let anybody. I had a permit, that's why I could get in, but they were sticking logos all over the back of the people.
You probably had. I have to dig it up somewhere.
And I was like, I said, "What's this one?" "Oh, this was just to show people to clean up, and this was for this." And I was like, "What? Just stick whatever you want on the back of my truck. I don't care." It's just But it was Katrina was a weird thing. So for my family, it wasn't what it was for other families. Like my grandchildren who were with me, they had fun. They will never look at this as a disaster that ended their lives. They will look at this as, "Oh God, Big Joe made just a blast." they got to go chase down the trucks and get free stuff out of them. They were having a ball. And it got to the point at one point they were bringing them those little ice cream bonbons by once a week. Plus, they got to roam all through the neighborhoods and help us cut down trees and stuff. And then when we went to work, they were in charge of the house with all the ladies at home. Yeah, they were like 8 and 10. But she said, y'all are in charge now. You don't let your grandma do anything she's not supposed to. It was too funny, but that's how it was.
It made landfall at my house before it made landfall at you, because I was in Florida. So it hit Florida, made landfall at my house, then went up and made landfall.
I was actually in Florida. I was when we evacuated to Florida. A friend of mine said, "What are you, crazy?" I said, "No, it's not coming. It's not coming back to the Panhandle. It's going to Louisiana." I said, "So we're safe."
We were in Boca, and it hit Boca. Oh, yeah. It hurt like 3 days first, but it wasn't very bad. It just hit us, and then it just kind of skimmed over there, and then it went through and like decimated Katrina, up in New Orleans.
I got a friend of mine who was, I guess you'd call it dark art. So during the storm, he stayed in Louisiana during the storm, and he was in the quarter, and he's got a hatch on his roof, so he had the hatch opened, and he was drawing what he's seen go by. It was all I can say. It was wicked. I mean, it was like there was something in, I don't even know how to explain it. I have to show it to you. It's when I looked at it, I'm like, dude, what are you on, some kind of drugs or something? He's like, no, this is what I saw was going by. And it was like demons and stuff flying through this. It was wicked looking. And I said, you had spent too much time alone at that point, my friend. You needed to find some friends. But then they were next to the building. Well, one of my friends was in the building that the side got blown out of. That was a strange one too. But you know what was strange about that? There were illustrators on the streets. Actually, a lot of the people who had their easels and they were walking around the streets and they would stop and they would just, And at first I thought, well, maybe they're just drawing the building and stuff, but no, they were drawing like something like a floor with the people on it. It was very. A lot of it was really good. A lot of it was really. I don't know. We'll just say weird and leave it at that. So Randy's asking, so what can he expect to see on Saturday? You can't expect to see that. But anyway, what can you expect to see on Saturday?
No, you can't expect to see what?
No, we're not going there. Just leave that alone. Just moving on. He shouldn't even be allowed. No. We ain't going there. He's a weirdo. Well, to be honest, we used to have a show back, God, I don't know, 15 years ago, where artists did live models on their shows.
Oh, cool.
It was very fun until people started, griping about, they didn't have clothes on. I was like, well, it was at 2 a.m. It wasn't like it was prime time or anything. And it did clearly say this is what this was, but it got to the point I got tired of hearing the bitching. And I said, guys, you're going to have to go somewhere else. I said, it's just too much. And then Spaced Out Radio came in. So Dave Scott got the slot. And Mr. Crazy Canadian himself. Mm-hmm. So you got to be close to him because you're where's he? He's in BC, I think. He's Vancouver. I call it Vancouver Light because he's not actually in Vancouver. He's kind of like on outside of Vancouver somewhere. He said he's really close to Seattle, though. He said he's like he could spit and hit Seattle. He's so close. I was like, well, dude. I said, never mind. I said, I'm not a Canadian. I don't know what the hell's up there. I don't want to know. But he was and that's something. This will segue into something cool because we were talking, 5 of us, as a matter of fact, 3 radio show hosts and three radio station owners. We're talking about should we use AI to do our stuff because it doesn't cost us anything. We don't really care if we own it or not. It's not like the banner that I use for Jeff Weiner did for me. I don't care if I own it. It's just a front for the show. And I was like, no. He's like, why? I said, because it just pisses me off.
Yeah.
I can't. John and I had talked. I mean, I called. Matter of fact, Jeff came on the show. Jeff Weiner came on the show. And I guess I was fairly naive to the AI. And this is like 3 years ago, but still. I literally called John when I got off the phone with him. I said, John, what the bleeping? What the John? Poor John's like, wait, Joe, calm down. What the hell? I was furiously pissed when I heard about it. I mean, we're going to start cheating artists. We're going to start cheating authors. And then I started seeing some of the artwork and listening to reading some of the stories or hearing some of the stories. I'm like, oh, well, maybe it's not as big a threat right now as we thought it was. Maybe in 50 years. And who cares? We'll all be dead by then. So let them have some fun.
No, don't use AI. Awful.
No, I can't use it anyway. I for some of the stuff I have to own it. For some of the things we do, I have to have possession of it because you never know what's going to go viral and what's not. That stupid AI one we got, people love that thing. I think it's translated. It's been downloaded from us more than 350,000 times. But see, nobody knows
just the whole principle of it. Yeah, it hurts artists. Just the very existence of it just harms.
Well, I seen Randy Les try to use AI to do John Greenwald's face. That shit was hilarious. I wish he'd let me keep that. He said, well, let me do one of your friends' faces in AI. I said, okay. And I had just taken a picture. Just back from LA, so I had several pictures of John. So I pulled one up and said, here, use this one. And I was like, and who is that? It's more like alien John Green. It was more like John Greenwald than John Goodwin. It was very weird.
I had one guest, Craig Martell, who's a big international best-selling author, and he was on the podcast that aired a couple months ago. We did it was a panel on podcasts. And the panel itself was a podcast interview. And he talked about, he had a couple, he does all of his books on audiobooks as well as what he does as his books. And so we recorded some of them using AI and then loaded them up there. And he said, not one of them has been downloaded yet. He does a lot of audiobooks, which is he has actors, that does the audios. And he wanted to try a couple with AI. And he said it just, nobody bought them. It's just
does he like announce that they're AI or does he?
Yeah, he said it. And he said, he didn't announce it up front. It was just he just put them up there to see what happened, and nobody downloaded them. It's just the quality is just not the same as a real voice.
No, wow. there's a lot of issues still to come. I know. I picked up a commission from the Miami Police Department a while back over that. Which was good money, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So somebody told him, he said, this guy's an expert in finding aliens. I'm like, really? Why did y'all call me? So they surrounded a big Miami mall with 50 squad cars sending all kind of cops into this mall. Because obviously there was a 10-foot alien running around outside the building and in the mall. I started laughing. And the cop was not appreciate that I was laughing. I was like, well, dude. I said, can we talk? I said, you know what? Let me bring you into my StreamYard system where I can show you frame by frame what I'm talking about. So I bring him up. The first thing I show him, I said, you notice everyone's standing on the balcony? No one's running. No one's screaming. No one's got a camera out. I'm like, really? I said, what's the first thing you've done? You've seen a 10-foot alien grabbing two people running down the hallway. You'd have been screaming, running, or taking pictures, one of the three. There's no doubt about that.
Taking pictures, yeah.
I said, plus, if you notice as it's lifting, its hands are like this long and wave it. Anyway, you could tell pretty much it was definitely AI. And from the scenes outside, because they were taken from long distance shots, it made it harder. But there was places where it ran through the building. He said, well, there's an alien. Maybe he could do that. I said, well, the human went through it with him. He's, oh, I was like, and I'm thinking, these are supposed to be in detectives, man. I'm thinking, what the hell? But anyway, by the time we got through, I must have pointed out 40 or 50 problems with it. And he's like, well, it's going to make it easy to find AI. I said, well, no, this is going to get better and better and better and better. I said, but there are some things you can look for. I said, but you should have been looking for crowd reaction right off the bat. I mean, even the people outside where this thing's supposed to be running, they're just walking along down the sidewalk like la da la da la. Come on, you see a 10-foot alien run, what the hell are you going to do? You're going to stand there while this big thing's running? No, you're not going to. I mean, there was just things. I think the excitement got into these police too bad, but in the end, I pretty much proved to them. So they just dropped the whole thing as an AI, and then they went looking, and they finally found the guy who created it and uploaded it into their camera system at the mall. I was like, well, they wrote me a nice thank you letter. I mean, they sent me a nice check, but they wrote me a nice thank you letter and thanks for helping out. We didn't know. I said, I didn't know I was an expert in AI because I know about it. I mean, I'm learning a lot about it, but I really didn't know anything about it. I mean, I learned what y'all have taught me and Jeff have taught me and some other people I know to deal with this have taught me.
it's not able to come up with anything new. I mean, that artists haven't come up with. It basically can only take things that artists have put out there and rehash it. It can't come up with anything new. And people say that they use it for inspiration. They're like, "Oh, I'm just using it for inspiration. I'm putting in things and I'm going to use it to inspire me, and then I base it off of that." But I'm afraid in the long run, if people do that, they're going to be stunting themselves. If they're just basically, if you say, okay, AI, give me inspiration, and you feed all your ideas off of that, you're limiting yourself, you're stunting yourself. It's like if you break your leg and you wear a cast for too long and you take your cast off, you know how your leg is going to be weaker because you've had that cast on for so long. You're just going to be weakening yourself because you're not, you're crippling yourself. You're not letting yourself use your imagination. Now,
it's weird. I don't know. I'm just glad to see people are paying. And I did notice that Congress wants to write some laws about this, protecting actual authors and illustrators and stuff. So, because they're saying right now, I mean, AI basically works off the web. When you talk about GGX, I mean, they're basically just polling Google is what they're really doing. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of material on Google, but it's still stuff that's on Google. They're just pulling away, and that's what they're coming up with, and they're making whatever it is out of that. I will tell you what Jordy owns a gaming company in New Orleans. Actually, I didn't know there's 3 of them down here now, but he owns one down here. And when we did an interview about this, be airing in about a month. We talked about this, and he said what he's going to do. Because he said I'm still hiring programmers. He said I'm looking still for some authors and even some illustrators. He said because he said we're still going to do storyboards like we do. We're going to design everything the way we want it. He said, and then what we're going to do is use the AI to mass produce it so that it doesn't take us 4 years to turn around a game. It takes us 2. He said, but I'm not, he said, but the illustrator is going to be overseeing every aspect of it. Each part's going to have their own job. Same thing with the authors. He said, once the story is written, then the author's job is to make sure that AI produces the story in the quality that it should be being produced because it's going to be in a video game. And then, of course, they haven't even thought about using AI for programming yet. He said their programming is very sophisticated and they don't want to shortcut there. But he said it would knock 2 years off of production time on a game. Also, it would drop the cost by half. So he said he can see a good use for it then. That doesn't put anybody out of jobs or work or anything like that. So I think that's the route he's going to take. And he was telling me most of the companies he does business with are pretty much figuring the same thing. They're just going to do it that way.
Well, I was going to say, if you the big problem the artists have with it, of course, is that how it learned how to make all of the art is that initially it went through and it scraped all of the art from all of the artists that are out there. There's this big master list that I'm on, as well as everybody else, that basically went through the whole internet and it took all the art from all the artists out there and it plugged it all in, and that's what it learned from. And you can go artists. Can go to a site. I think it's haveibeen-scraped.com or something. That you go through the list and it shows if it learned from your art, and that's what it used to copy all of its base code to learn everything. So basically, it stole everything from all of our 40 years of hard work.
No, that's what Congress has been talking about. They want to pass a bill that limits this so if Congress does what it's saying it's going to do. As far as what we're talking about on AI, it's a dead bot. It'll be still being used for other stuff, but it'll be a dead bot here because they're basically wanting to protect everyone's copyright. They're saying
that's why you can't copyright it right now because they did it that way. That's the limitation that's in place now. That's why you can't copyright
it. But so what they're saying is that it should protect everyone's copyright, and that the people who are using these should pay each illustrator, each author for the use of their material, just like you would do anybody else. And if their material is going to be in this, that, or the other thing, then there should be some kind of payment for it. So I didn't realize, but we have several authors in Congress and they want to protect their damn work. How you like that? I think there was, the guy said it was like 14% or 15% of them have their own books out. And I was like, well, ain't that nice for us? We might actually really get some protection out of this. I just think a lot of this stuff is squirrely.
And it's not the same way that artists and authors are inspired by artists and authors' works that are out there, because it literally takes it and mathematically like breaks it down, and you can actually like untangle it to see what it looked like before it like tangled it back up and made art out of it. And it can create new things out of its algorithms and such. But the way the artists process it, like physical artists, we're inspired by it and we process it differently to create brand new things. There is a difference. People argue that it's not different, but it is different. It is very
different. It's so, and it's easy to prove. Oh, well, I'm going to interview the chatbot. Oh, no, how am I going to interview G? First off, it's going to tell me, oh, well, I learned from using echoes. Oh, I learned from, I mean, that would be the interview. I learned from these artists by stealing their work, basically, is what it would have to say. So it's way different. And I've watched now, John and them have educated, well, I shouldn't say John and them, but because of John and them, y'all have educated me enough that I see progressions both in books and in art. I noticed most when I was watching, I've watched enough artists now. Well, almost 100 with y'all. They're all out there penciling, and then they're going and making it better and better and better. It's not something that's not something the bot's going to do. The bot's going to do it the first time, and that's going to be its thing, and that's going to be it. It's not going to take its time, and it's not going to look at something like the sunset or the clover or any damn thing or the bee buzzing around. It's not going to look at any of that. It's just going to look at your work, and that's where it's going to get its idea from. Or whatever you type in saying, hey, I need a bumblebee sitting on a clover. It's not seeing the bumblebee on the clover. It's just stealing the bumblebee on the clover from somebody or several somebodies for that matter. So it's a big difference. And at least Congress seems to be on our side on this one. So that is a plus. No, Jeremy, Congress really seems to be, I guess, like I said, there's a lot of authors in Congress and there's a few illustrators. I think they realize, this is going to bite. And, because people want to make money. So anytime when you hear us talk about the ChatGPT bot, or the AI, it's basically something that's just, and it's constantly updating itself. It's always, but there's only X amount of information on the internet. So this thing should have already surfed all of Google and Yahoo by now. Maybe it's going overseas.
They stopped at what year? They don't have current. They're up to whatever date. At least the ChatGPT is only up to a certain date.
Well, that makes sense too. So I mean, so that limits them. It needs to be limited until there's a way to at least make sure the authors and illustrators, whoever programmers, are getting their 10 cents out of this. It shouldn't be stopped in the point that it can't ever be used, but it should be used in range like anything else. Like, someone calls up, I'd like to use these 3 pieces of your art. Okay, fine. What you're going to pay me for these 3 pieces? Or you're going to rent these 3 pieces. Because I noticed down here, some of the illustrators rent their art. I didn't even know that was a thing. I was like, well, what? See, I learn. I'm ignorant, people. I learn as I go.
You mean licensing? Like what?
So they can have it for X amount of time, and then after that time extinguishes, it goes back to total use to the illustrator. It just never really dawned on me that people were doing that. I thought they were just buying the thing outright, but it made sense after I thought about it.
Well, like if I created a piece of art and you were to use it for your book cover, and then you only needed it for like a little run of a book cover, and then it went back to me, it would cost you a lot less to use it for your book cover. But now I own it again, and say 10 years down the line, John needed it for something that he was doing. He could then license it for a lot less, and then I would get more money for it. But it would cost him less to use again. That's licensing. So it's a great way to reuse art, and it would cost you less. It would cost John less, and I would keep the rights to it. And so
I did that with Frazetta. I would do negotiate with Ellie, Frank's wife. She's the one that handled the negotiation. So he did the earlier covers. He painted 4 writers of the future, and those we own. But then later on, I was using more and more of the covers. I'd find stuff and I'd go through their whole list of stuff, and then I'd negotiate with Ellie. At the end, she wasn't so much interested in the money. She just wanted the recognition for Frank. She wanted to make sure that we had a good acknowledging Frank in the book and a little bit of news about him. That's what she was mostly interested in for him. And so that was good. We did that. We already had a long-term great working relationship with Frank. Obviously, he was a judge for the contest as well. But no, it's just you get your second. That's how you can get an artist can actually continue to make money off your other stuff. Just like, anybody who's you got your rights. Just an author can resell his book. He can get the different languages, translations, and make more money on residuals. That's what an artist has the ability to do too. If you own the rights, you can then have it used over and over and over again and keep on making money.
Yeah, you could license your art to be on lots of different things. That's how you could license your art to be on Hawaiian shirts or shoes or sunglasses or Zippos or whatever as well. Sure. And it can be officially licensed. And then of course, when people put it on things that they're not supposed to, that's they're stealing your art and putting it on things they're not supposed to. But
But Dean Wesley Smith, because he owns the art to his books. So he goes to the rights show in Las Vegas? Is that what it's called?
Yes, licensing show. It's going to be in May.
End of this month, yeah. And he goes there. Las Vegas. And he said that's his number one source of income is licensing deals. They get more than anything else right now because of being used on T-shirts, on mugs, on shoes, and all kinds of stuff. He said it's amazing.
I saw him there in May 2 years ago. So, So I have a licensing agent, so I go down there every once in a while and hang out at their booth at the licensing show. So and this is the sort of thing that I'll be talking about during my section as well. I'm still feeling out exactly the format of what I'll be doing, but I want to be informational towards illustrators and towards people that are interested in knowing. I have lots and lots of years of experience and all.
So lots of great artwork too to go through.
So
one thing we can do too then, Echo, is after this, when we record the teaser for the podcast, we can also record a little thing that I can put on Rise of Future on our social pages, and just saying, you can say, look, I'm starting my own show here on United Public Radio Network. What would you like me to talk about? What would you like to know? And we can get people to respond to that, and I can feed that to you as show ideas down the road.
I'd like to put a place where people could ask questions and I could answer them. I know so much about so many things.
Yeah. Well, now you've got a YouTube page, don't you?
Yeah, I have a YouTube page. Yeah.
Okay, so you can link to your live show.
Yep, I will be doing that as well.
So anybody who wants to ask questions, they can ask them live, and there's a private chat and there's an open chat.
I have been having people ask me for years and years. Every time I do an interview or every time I go and talk where I'm a guest at a convention, they're like, why don't you do a YouTube channel? You know so many things. And I've been putting it off, and Joe keeps nagging me to do this. And finally I was like, all right, you know what?
Yeah, so that's a good thing, because you can build an audience up, and and you get a good chat group going. See, I made a big mistake a long time ago. So we used to have Yahoo Chat, and we moved to Pal Talk. And everybody's been on Pal, and there's still a few over there. Well, then when we moved, I started using Facebook Messenger on my 3 pages. I got them linked together. Well, I can't get them in the chat room because they want to message me, and not just message me. It's like, hey Joe, and wait, then I get a conversation going between all of them, and you just watch, and I'm thinking, I'm not even going to read this. And then I'll get a text like, but Joe, I'm like, no, but Joe, my ass, leave me questions so I actually can read them. But I prefer this because anything that's written, you can click and bring into the chat group with us. So everybody can read it, whatever's written, whatever's in the text can actually be shown in the group. So it'll come up on the screen right here along the bottom, and people can see it. And, and it's a nice feature. And that's only when you want things like that. Or you got this feature too, which is just scrolling across, telling us what's going on right now. And it's for people to see. So you can have that, and you can still have the questions above it. It's a lot of nice features to it. Yes. And then there's the present button. So we can bring anything you've got. You can either download it or bring it off the web and put it right in the group with us. And you can make it full size if you want to. And I, a lot of times when I'm doing stuff that I want people to pay attention to, like if the shows, so it's covering the whole screen, the shows will be over here. I'll actually take myself off a cam. I'll leave the mic on, but I'll take myself off a cam, because people have a tendency for their eye to shift left when they see something moving over there. So we'll all go off cam. So like when we have the polls up at night for, the other people, we're not going to mention who, those people can read them without paying attention to what the hosts are doing, whatever the host may do and that they're not supposed to be doing over there. It's all of it's real interested, and it's really good. And it makes things real nice. You can interact in so many different ways. And let's just matter of fact, the other day I had, there was something I wanted off of this book. and I had to go find it. Well, how did I get it on there? Somehow I can't even remember how I did it now, but I got two of the pictures up here because that's what I did. I actually took them with my phone and sent them to my computer, and then uploaded them to I could present, so they could be seen. Because I've got in the near future, so we're going to do the last four big winners of the illustrators and the last four big winners of the writers. Carmen's booking them for me. We're going to do them as a group because I just want to see how everybody felt. We want to do the whole time that I've been with them, but really more than four at a time is too much. So, so we're going to do it like that. And that way, so those days, those illustrators will be here and they'll be saying, well, Echo's just before, so I didn't pay attention. But because I just want to see how people have reacted, how they've changed, where they are, what's going on in their lives. Tell them, now you weren't part of the 40 and stuff like that. And but it's fun. I have a lot of fun with a lot of these people, and thank God John gives me Carmen to help out because I'd be lost half the time. I'll call Carmen. I want this. Carmen's so nice, by the way. Y'all guys will never hear. Y'all never get to hear us talk about Carmen. Carmen's just a really nice guy, and I harass him all the time. I'm like, Carmen, or he'll harass me. He'll call me Jojo. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. We're doing this. And but he's really fun to talk to, and he's hard working. John works him all the time, man. John had a little cattle prod from him last time I was there. I was like, Carmen, what's that? He said, I wasn't listening to John. I was like, what? He said, oh yeah, this is for when I'm being bad. Guys, he'll be on one of the pictures that goes up. Y'all will get to see his face. Yes. You will get to see his face somewhere. Him and Maliva, the elusive Maliva, by the way. And she's not as elusive as Joni, by the way, but still, Joni is elusive, people. I don't even know how to explain it.
I have this great picture I took of Joni. She's on two phones, and she's like,
I know. I don't have. The other day, last time I was there, she's talking away, looking at somebody. I'm like, I looked at her and said, I'm not even bothering you, baby. I'm just going to leave you alone. I'm going over here and sit down. And then she came down and started talking to her. I said, Joni, you don't have to talk to me. Just take care of business. I don't know how any of them do it, to be honest with you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about what goes on at Writers of the Future, that unless you're a guest, you don't really get to see it. And even the winners only get to see X amount of it. I'm all over the place, so I get to see a little bit more of it. And I harass them intentionally. So I get reactions at them, but that's just how they are. But there is a really good interview coming up with Chelsea. Y'all have to see Chelsea. Was her last name Gomez?
Chelsea Garcia.
Garcia. See, I knew I was going to get it wrong. She's going to smack me for sure now. She's like an Amazon. I don't like getting on her bad side. It's a really, really good piece you have to go see about the museum. Just go check it out. I'll tell you this. It will do wonders for some of you morons out there. How's that? And did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. And I said that. I got Echo on, getting Echo in trouble, and she's not even know what's going on. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check them out. They got Demo coming up. You got Pat Henry coming up. You got Orson Scott Card coming up. You got some really good interviews over the next few weeks. You have Mark, how you say his last name?
Mark Leslie Lefebvre.
Lefebvre. And you got him coming up as well. And then there's some other winners that came up. We got redone with the two big winners. So they'll be up there as well, plus a few others that we squeezed in, not including the 24 we did before we came. Oh, no, I got 10. I got 6 outstanding interviews there. Probably 6 best I've done since I've been with these guys. And then I got about another 5 or 6 that were just good interviews. Yeah, well, there was some really good guests this year. Everybody was chatty this year.
You were really excited by some of them.
Yeah, some of them. I mean, I was.
You were just like,
because I have never met anybody talk politics as well as I did, and I was like, shit.
Yeah, you came down. You were like, oh my god, that was like.
I said, well, the first thing I thought is John's going to kill me, man. And Orson's like, why? I said, we're not supposed to be talking about this. And I mean, we went off. So I haven't actually sat and re-listened to the whole thing. I'm going to have to, because if it's going to go in the Writers of the Future collection, I may have to clip part of it. Now, I mean, I'll keep it all and play it all, but I don't.
You can put it on the Centralist.
Yes. We invited him twice. Last week he was out of town. This week I waited too late. I didn't get home till late yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to invite him till like 8. So I figured he was busy doing something. He's already said he's going to come on, guys and girls. Yes, Orson Scott Card is going to come on and talk politics with the Old Guys Club and the girl. That's what we call it now, the Old Guys Club and the girls. 4 old guys and 1 young girl.
Yeah, Scott's going to be on next Saturday. We have our live Q&A that he does. That's one of his favorite things to do every quarter. He's a special guest. He does a live Q&A for writers. He just for 2 hours he answers any questions. It's like sort of like an open mic, but I have them put all the questions in the chat, and then I forward the questions, so we get a lot more done that way. So they just keep on funneling stuff to him.
Yeah,
and he goes for answers.
Oh, that's what Joni texted me. That's what that was about. Okay.
Yeah, so it's next Saturday at 9:00 Eastern, 6:00 Pacific, and he's just going to be on for 2 hours, and he loves it.
Okay. What were you saying, Dave?
I was just gonna. No, I was. Go ahead, Joe. Finish.
No, I'm good. I was just looking at something. I was looking and talking at the same time, which I should.
I was just gonna say, like one of my favorite parts I think about going down to Los Angeles is answering all the questions that the winners have about being an illustrator. I've been a freelance illustrator, like solely a freelance illustrator, supporting the family for way longer than I want to admit, like actually making a career at it. And that's what I want to, they really get a lot out of that. Me telling them all the things, how to actually make a career and the skill it takes, because you have to kind of dodge and weave and really adapt and do a lot more than just like, okay, I'm an illustrator now, this is what I'm going to do. You have to actually, make changes. You have to be creative about it. There's a lot more to the business aspect of it. And so I really try to focus on the business aspect of actually, surviving as an illustrator. And that's what I want to talk about on my time during the show, amongst other things, and hopefully, sharing some of the experiences I've had.
And you're gutsy too as an artist as well.
So,
when says, can you do this? You kind of go, I've never done this before. Sure, I can do it.
Sure, I can do it. Sure, absolutely.
Then you quickly look and you learn how to do it, because that's how you get a reputation. Then as someone that can do it. Kevin Anderson was that way. Bob Eggleton.
I got some stories. So yeah,
which is great though. But people have to understand, you've got to be, if you're really make it, you've got to really be dedicated to what you're going to do.
Oh yeah. So that's what I love doing is talking to them over the course of the week and doing that. So that's I haven't
heard anybody talk bad about you yet, and I get anybody say anything. So it's, a friend of mine says, "So you get the Pope say he isn't Christian? How do you do stuff like that?" So, it's not me, actually. It's just the way things work out sometimes. Christopher, the Orson Scott Card, that interview will be up.
I want to do with this section is open that up a little bit more. Is what I was saying. Yeah. Keep doing that.
You should, because I actually learned a lot about all aspects of it anytime I'm there, I'm always learning something. And there's just so much, I'm thinking, I'm not an illustrator, I'm not an author, and I'm listening to all this going on. I'm thinking, Jesus, these kids got a lot, and they're not even kids. I shouldn't even use that word. Illustrators, they're a little younger, so I can kind of use the word kids there. But the authors are usually at least in their 30s, and I'm thinking there's a lot to learn here. And the business part's always funny to me, because you have to have that part. Doesn't matter how good an artist you are. If every time you make a painting, you don't get the right amount of money, or you're spending as fast as you're making, you got issues there.
It's hard to find someone to ask. It's hard to get that information when you're first starting, because usually you're an illustrator or a writer or whatever. You're working by yourself, and someone contacts you about a job. They send you an email. You're like, well, how do I ask? I remember when I first got an email about one of my first jobs, and they wanted to know how much I should charge. And I'm like, I remember typing in, how much should I charge for this? And there was like nothing on the internet. It's like, how much does an illustrator get paid for this? Of course, this is back in the time of dinosaurs and stuff. But, there was nothing on the internet. There weren't the groups there are now. At least there's a lot.
Brittany, when she got her first big job with, she
called me up in a panic. She called me up like, is this legitimate? Help! And so,
at least they got you.
To have somebody like that you can go to, because the other thing too is like with Pedro in, when they went to the studio, and they do the stuff, and it was what was the studio you went to? You went to with your art class this year?
You just asked me that. Now I'm just like, whoosh.
Rob Pryor.
Pryor.
So you went to Rob Pryor's studio.
I was looking at the pictures of it this morning.
He was asking because Rob loved his black and white. He loved his ink work. Mm-hmm. And so he said, okay, how much you charge for it? And he said, okay, like 40 euro, 45 euro. And Rob says, no. I'll take care of this for you. You know, people don't know because they start off and like to get some admiration, like, oh my gosh, they like my stuff. They're going to pay me $50 for this, you know, or they're going to pay me $100 for this. And they're thinking like, wow, this is amazing, when they should be charging $1,000 or $1,500 for based on the number of hours that goes into that project and what is real. But if you don't know that, then you're not going to know otherwise to do that. And so artists will definitely be taken advantage of because, you know, someone who's a shrewd businessman will say, well, if they don't know to ask for more, then it's not my problem.
And sometimes all you need to is for somebody else to tell you, no, it's worth more, so that you at least feel the confidence of asking for more. Somebody else, another artist saying, listen, you should be asking for this much more, so that you can go to the person and say, you know, I'm worth this much more. And then you have the confidence behind you, so you don't feel like, you know, because it's hard to ask for more when you're an artist, because you automatically, a lot of artists don't feel they're worth it. It's just an interior, it's the interior doubt that keeps you going as an artist.
Which is what Pedro said, because he just had a 3-page feature article from this media person I met at Frankfurt. So he's Portuguese. So he interviewed Pedro, and I asked Pedro afterwards, I said, this is a pretty amazing article. And he says, yeah, he's getting a lot of admiration for it there in Portugal. But I said, so what's your big take home? He says, my confidence level. I feel confident that I can actually charge. I can actually make it as an artist now. You know, that I've got that confidence with what I got from there.
Yeah, and charging is important. I know the very first big job I ever got doing sheetrock, I charged $8,000 for it. And what the old guy who taught me how to do all that stuff, he goes, "How much you charge?" I said. He started laughing. He said, "I ain't gonna tell you nothing." Job's over. He said, "How much you made?" I said, "I made $4,000, man, for like 3 days work." I said, "That's pretty good." He said, "Yeah, it's a $24,000 job." I was like, "What?" I said, "What?" I said, "You come with me with my next like 15 bids, my friend." And let me tell you what I learned. It was a hard lesson, but after that I learned. And we undervalue ourselves. Yeah, everybody does, or with the exception of the crazies who overvalue themselves. But it's a bad thing. And I remember very first year I was with you, they were asking me about money. I said, I can teach you about business all day long. I got 3 of them, but I said, you're looking at Arthur. Why don't you go ask Dean? And sure enough, Dean was sitting there by himself eating a hot dog. His poor table just surrounded him. I'm like, I'm sorry, Dean. He's like, oh, no, that's what I'm here for. And they started asking him questions on this, that. And then he just pop. He said, no. He said, what are y'all doing? You don't need any of that yet. You're just a sole proprietor. You don't need any, no, and any of these other corps. No C corps, no corporations, none of that. You don't need any of that. Just this is where you are. When you get to this level, then this is where you are. When you get to this level, this is where you are. He says, it's about how much money you're making. And the guy says, I said, well, I own one S corp, one which I said one of the businesses is incorporated. I said the other one's a research, so it's protected under the CO35, CO3, whatever the hell it's called. And he's like, I said, well, the man knows his stuff. I'm listening to everything he said. I knew he was correct about, and I'm thinking y'all should be paying attention. What we got? What we got back there? I see somebody.
I'm signing prints. Sorry, I'm in the gallery right now, so I can just.
Oh, she's working while she's with us.
Yes, of course I'm working.
She is so bad. What are we gonna do with her? Anyway, I picked this up while she was working. This is a good time to be showing this again. Now I know somebody asked me about this the other day. No, I have 2 of these. You can't get either one of them. I'm sorry, they're both signed, and each one signed differently too. By the way. One I'm going to mail to Tom just to have him sign it just for shits and giggles. And
I can afford Tom.
It's 40th anniversary. GalaxyPress.com. Bam, real fast. I mean, you can go anywhere that sells books, you can get it. Where are we getting this weird light from? Anywhere that sells books, you can get this book. I always just press GalaxyPress.com because that's where I think you should go get it. But still, you get
Joe, it. If I offer up 2 books right now, if you run if we got these people listening here, you offer up 2 books right now that will give away. If you work out whatever they have to do to win it, whether it's caller number or whatever, then send me the address and I'll mail it out to them.
Okay, y'all heard that? So yeah, it's up to y'all. I tell you what,
And if you bring them by any of the conventions, me or any of the other artists are at, we'll sign them.
No, they'll sign. They're great about that.
Usually some of us are at San Diego Comic Con or Gen Con or Dragon Con. So any of those that were I'm sure any of the artists or any of the winners, if you look them up, will just get, or any of the authors, I'm sure. And then I think at Dragon Con, some of the writers are up. Just look it up. Anyone who just always asks. So
yeah, and I was just talking to Hugh Howey yesterday. He wasn't able to make it, but he's going to be at San Diego Comic Con. So I'll find out when he's going to come by our booth. So if you're interested in that too, you can see him at San Diego Comic Con. But we'll be there. We'll be at Tampa Comic Con, Dragon Con, Salt Lake City FanX, and Toronto Comic Con.
You can catch them. They're all over the place, man. Yeah. They are. I mean, they're literally everywhere. So for the Roku people, if you can tell me what's right here.
Oh, I know.
If you tell me right there, you can tell me. You can have you can get this book from John. And for anybody listening,
Echo doesn't count.
Yes, you already got a book. You don't get no book. Now, anybody who's on the listening side, because I know some of y'all are on the listening side, yes. I'm gonna make this really, really easy on y'all. I guess we'll do, say, 25th person says it. If you can tell us who the guest is tonight and what she does for a living. Come on, guys. All you had to do is listen to the show, and you know that. But anyway, it's ICAR@Cox.net. I did this the other day, and the girl at the end of the show, she writes me, she said, you forgot to give your email. I was like, what? I was giving away this one right here, and I forgot to give out my email. And some girl wrote to me. She said, Joe, I know what it is, but you forgot to get your email. She said, I looked you up online and get your email. I said, I'm gonna have Gary send you one from the UK, because that's where she was in the UK. And so she got hers. She wrote to me, but yeah, we give away a lot of books, people. Well, no. So you see all of these.
Yeah, if it's somebody that's
overseas,
if somebody's overseas, I'll be doing several of these things with you. Overseas, we'll send an ebook, and if it's continental, we'll send the actual book, because it gets pretty expensive.
Yeah, it gets expensive overseas. Yeah. Oh yeah, it gets expensive just going to Canada. No, guys, if you see any writers and features you see up here, no, these aren't. But any of these you see over here are all signed books. Even that's my personal copy of Death and Taxman. No, I've already given the other two away that he sent me. David sent me. They're gone. They long, man. They went like boom, boom. They weren't even playing that night. My email went. I was like, damn, David, they like you. And nothing else up there right now I'm giving away. I can't give these away because these only have one of these. Yes, my own. I'm starting my own collection. And oh no, you mean the set? No, you have to go to galaxypress.com for that. I don't have any more. I'm pretty sure we gave our last one away. I got to check because I got some stuff sitting on the side of here. I'm not sure what they are, but I'm pretty sure I gave my last one away. Yes, we had 3 of them, and we gave the first one away, and then the second one, I'm pretty sure we gave the third one away just not that long ago.
Echo, have you ever shown your studio? Have you ever actually done a little?
Yeah, I have. I have a video. I should take a new video of it, but I should probably make a new video and put it up.
Do you still have that big piece that we did at the awards gala?
The wings? They're right behind me.
Oh wow!
There's the wings. There's one of them anyway. There's one right there, and there's the spear. See the spear?
Yeah.
There's the spear, and there's one of the wings, and then we have a sign on my door with the wings. That's that's one of the 2 wings and you can see them on your website.
Yeah.
That are on the cover.
Yeah, those were from the awards gala. Those were the outside. Those are the wings that were over the stage at the awards gala.
Those are from the cover there.
Yeah.
So.
That's right.
Still might get lucky. I think I got a 39 that's not signed. I don't know where this one came from. It was under a bunch of books sitting over here. Yeah, I think I did. So I'm not going to give this one away today, but I will give this one away. This is from last year.
Yep.
Yes. So that was great. She's got right there.
Those are the wings there. That was on the stage.
You can get that without some glare there.
Yeah.
You see that without glare?
Yeah.
Yeah, it came in pretty good now.
Yeah, those are the wings that she has right above her, Joe. That's that one.
Yeah, that's behind me there.
Yeah, I seen it when I seen the little traces of them. I knew she had them because of one of the interviews we did.
That's one of them, and then the spear is it's over there.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is actually part of one of the event sets, is what this is, in case y'all didn't know. Oh, they're pretty big. They're not little wings. No, they're not. They're actually quite big. It was look when she rolls back, look how big they are. They were actually on the gala event for that particular year. And
28 feet of wings.
They
It's like, I'm bringing them home, and they're like, you're crazy. I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm bringing them home.
Exactly.
And I texted Jody. I'm like, all right, cancel my flight. I'm driving them home, and they're like, okay.
It's like, wait, what? Yeah. Oh no, seriously, people. There was what year was that? 30 what?
Was that 30?
36, 37?
36.
36.
So if you watch the video, there I am with my dress here with B. They're right there. It's backwards here. So that's the year. That's the year I broke my foot. Yeah. So I had Joe. I broke my foot that year. Were you there that year?
Yeah, I was there. Me and Tom were the one carrying you down the street that night.
Yeah, that's right. I broke my foot, and then I had to get me it's a pair of sneakers. So I had to practice walking. I had to practice walking and swishing my skirt so that I didn't limp, because I was like, I'm not going to be on the stage with crutches. So I had to walk slow and swish, 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 so I wouldn't limp across the stage. Laz didn't know. My husband didn't know I broke my foot. So I was like, he called me up. He's like, oh, you looked beautiful. And I was like, could you tell I broke my foot? He's like, you broke your foot? And I'm like, oh, good. You couldn't tell. He's like, wait, you broke your foot?
No, what the hell are you doing up there, woman?
Because if I walked too fast, I would limp. But if I didn't walk fast enough, I was like, yeah. So I was like,
ball.
I get to the edge of the stairs just as we go down, and the stagehand looks at me. I'm like, help me walk down the stairs. I can't get down the stairs. So it's funny, and then we loaded up these huge wings into the back of this U-Haul and drove them back up north, and then I finally got to the doctor a week later, and he's like, I'm like, do I have to wear a boot or something, and he's like, well, there's no point now. It's been 10 days, and I'm like, good, okay, well, we're good then.
Yeah, he's like, started healing.
He's like, you broke it in 7 places. There's it's fragmented, and I guess if you don't need a boot, it's already healing. And I'm like, okay, good. So
yeah, somebody should have had a video of her and I and Tom going down the street.
That was awesome.
It was funny. It was funny. It was a little painful for her, but funny for everybody else. But once we got to where we were going, the pain kind of eased. I'm not going to get into that. Most of y'all too young to be hearing this kind of stuff. It was a good time.
Just because I was an EMT and I happened to like medical stuff. It was what's called a Jones fracture. So it was this part of the foot right here. So on the top of my foot. So, I don't know. I happen to like medical stuff. You should know that about me. So.
Oh no, Randy. The 36 I just showed you now. It's signed all over the place. Yeah, it's.
But you can still probably purchase it somewhere.
Yeah, you can still get it. As far as I know, it's available at where you can get
on
it.
The website?
Yeah, I thought I seen it not that long ago.
Yeah,
it's Well, I have my own private collection of these. I've been collecting in other books. One day I'm gonna set up a Writers of the Future thing.
You can get this on the website, right? Still.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna set up a little wall in here /Elron/ Writers of the Future, because I got a little bit of both. Well, no, y'all can see some of the stuff I read when I'm down there with them. Y'all all know what I like to read, but all them books behind me have been read, guys. I mean, you know what? What is it? Which one was it?
I like that one.
Which one was it? Oh, I can't remember which one it was, but one of them, I think it was the New World. Anyway, one of them gave me a freaking headache for 2 weeks. I don't know what it was with that book, but every time I tried to read it, gave me a headache. Actually, all the classics, all the classics were required reading when I was in school, and where I went to school at Britannia, they required that you do 2 book reports a week on the classics. And I mean, when I mean class, I mean everything you can think of. If it was a classic, we had to read it. And then 2 of my teachers were into philosophy big time, so any philosopher they could find or they thought was notable, we had to read that as well. Yes. And y'all want to know why I don't read today? That's why.
You don't read today.
Oh no, I'm burned out. I told John all the time, y'all want me to see something, send it in audio, man. I think I just finished book 6 of Mission Earth. I think I'm starting book 7. And I'll tell all of y'all about that. And probably about 5 months from now when I finish them. And I was talking with who who narrates it?
Jim Meskimen.
Jim Meskimen.
Oh, I love him.
Him and I were talking. Him and I were talking at this last time about once I'm done, because I remember I came up and asked John. I had to clear it with John because, once I'm done going through it, I'd like to sit down and talk with him. Actually, I need to get John there too, because it'd be fair that way, and just go through, because some of this shit is hilariously funny, people, and some of it is really weirdly on point for today, which is really kind of weird. I can't explain it to you. You can go get the book and read it. Mission Earth's available in print, but listening to it's easier on me, and the special effects are just fabulous.
Yeah.
And besides, Mescaline does the bad guy so well. What I love about the bad guys, he has no idea he's the bad guy either. Not even an inkling. At least not where I'm at right now.
No, he doesn't. He's the whole way through. He's convinced everybody else is doing it to him. But it's interesting though. We're talking about Sultan Grease, he's the narrator. It's basically his confession after he's been captured. It's his confession of his crimes, and at no point does he feel like he's responsible. It's other people, even though he's killed so many people and all these other just heinous crimes. He's always the victim. And when we surveyed, this is when it first came out. The character, you got Jed Heller, who's like the hero. You got Countess Crack, and you got Heidi Heller, and you got Sultan Grease and Lombard Hist, all these main characters. The character that the average reader most identified with, Sultan. They I
bet you they did. He's a good character. It's a funny character, but y'all just, for like I said, people, I don't know when they're going to let the audio version out because it's fabulous. I haven't got through it. Like I said, I'm getting in the book. It's taking me like 2 years to get through it. It's not because it takes that long to get through it. It's just other weirdness going on in my life. But when I get through it, I'm going to interview him, and then I'm going to have John interview me, and then y'all have a much better idea about all of this. And then one day they might release it to you poor, strange people who have to read it instead of listening to it.
So speaking of Writers of the Future, Joe, have you read any particular story that stands out to you as you look back?
Actually, I do, but I can't remember the name. I'm so bad with titles anymore.
Well, tell me what it was about, and I'll tell you what the title was.
Well, so I was going through the collection that originally sent me, and there was some weird it's like a little weird silver spaceship that was on it. And I remember seeing this, and I'm like, oh, it looks a little sci, because not all his work is sci-fi. There's a lot of other genres and mixed in there, which I didn't really realize until I started reading. We're talking about L. Ron Hubbard, by the way, whoever just sent me that. Why in the hell? I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. I'll send it to you.
Anything in Writers of the Future?
Oh, wait. Say that again.
Anything in the current Writers of the Future that stands out for you?
No, not this year.
I was going to say you sent all of us to the stars this year, and everybody.
Yes,
really
to me,
every stars. Yeah, that's the one I sent. That's the one that Echo's talking about. I sent that to everybody.
That's everyone liked it. They all liked that.
So. They everything felt kind of just nice. I don't know. Reading this year was kind of easier plane, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So was it not last year before last? It was more like a little roller coaster ride. I guess for me, depending on what genres we're talking about here, because there's several different genres that they're in. I guess when I hit sci-fi, I'm almost always partial to sci-fi. I can't help myself. So anything that comes out sci-fi, I kind of like. But this year I just felt like it was a nice, easy, comfortable read because I read it the first time you sent it to me, and I was in a hurry, which I usually am when I'm reading anyway. So I had time. It was a nice flight, nice, normal flight, no crazy people sitting next to me. Had the whole seat between me, the guys watching sports. So I just kicked back, turned on, and started reading through it again. And it was just, I don't know, for some reason it just felt like an easy read.
The cat?
The cat one, yeah.
That's the edge of where my light is.
Yeah, that one was cool.
That's the opening story. And
remember the one with the cat?
Yeah. That's one there. And
Karina did just the most beautiful illustration for that one. I love her line art.
That was weird too. Now that you bring that up, I had to go back. There was something about the illustration was driving me bat crazy. I kept going. I looked at it. I was like, I know what story that's for. And then for some reason, my brain would just wander off to what was it, like story 4 or 5. Unfortunately for me, it's easy to remember numbers and titles, but I don't know what that was about. And then when we got to the reveal, for some reason, it made sense to me. After the reveal, it made sense to me. Sorry. It was strange because, I mean, you got to see everything in the book. Everything was nice. Everything was illustrated. Everything was good. And then, and speaking of which, somebody at the airport ended up with my other copy. No good bastards. Excuse my language. It was, you know how you put all your stuff together? So I'm like, I had the copy. It says on it, not for sale. It's a not for sale copy. And sure enough, it's nowhere in my house. I'm pretty sure one of them guards got it when we were going through customs.
Aww. And the toast one. We had fun with the toast one, with the butter side down one.
Yeah, that one's great.
So,
Cal M was the author of that one there, and great illustration. I mean, I can never.
We were working on that one, and it has like the butter side down, and she was working on the illustration for it. And it was like it was missing something, and I forgot what happened exactly. We had the toast, and it was coming out, and it was going down, and we were talking about hopping out of the toaster and something, and I was like, and we were talking about it being buttered, popping out of the toaster and being in the future, and I'm like, well, I'm sure there's probably these things that flying around and like that, just it's the future. It probably just flies around and butters itself like right away, like those like the little things in Harry Potter with the wings that fly around. And when we were at the reveal, she looks at it, she points at it, she goes, "We did that."
There it is. That's what they're talking about right there, ladies and gentlemen.
So it's got the little flying snitch or whatever it's called with the butter.
You
just
see it back there.
Fly around and butter toast all day. So that we were missing something in that area. So we came up with that.
That's a cool. That's a cool.
Came out really well.
Well, no, I like that they have them all.
She was like, "We did that. It was so cute."
Now you had the illustration of Squiddy was the grand prize winner.
That was the grand. Yeah, that's Tyler.
Yeah. What made that stand out? Do you think that made that the grand prize winner?
Apparently all of them were really, really, really close this year.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why that one stood out because the judges all vote, and that one just must have spoken just a hair ahead of the other ones. I'm not sure why. They were all within just a hair of each other, like half a vote.
Same thing with writers contest too. They're all like a point.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I mean, they were so close to each other, so it could have been anything.
So this is the one they're talking about right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the one that won the grand prize. Honestly, the tentacles freak me out. I know it goes with the story, but I was like, no. Even though I know it goes with the story, but it still freaks me out.
Of course, if you want to see this much better, all you have to just purchase the book and see that it make it much
that works
easier
for me.
So don't forget, writersfuture.com, people. Galaxypress.com. Sorry, I'm trying to get y'all to submit something.
I mean, they're all awesome.
And this is the kitty. Hold on, while I got it in my brain. Oh no, people! I'm going to give this book away, so you don't have to worry about me bending stuff up.
I love that one.
So let me get my fat fingers out of the way. There y'all go, the little kitty.
I love that one.
These were all good stories. Actually, Ronnie, what you need to do is go pick the one.
I thought that one was going to win grand prize. That's the one I would have.
You see, but see, that's why I don't say anything anymore because I never get it right.
I know.
And so
I don't get to vote on the grand prize because I'm the coordinating judge, so I don't get to choose that. So
unless it's a tie, then you're the tiebreaker.
And I'm the tiebreaker, and then that actually comes down to if we keep track. They have deadlines. And then I keep track of if they make their deadlines and everything. And so if there's a tie, it comes down to how they were to work with. Like if they make their deadlines and they're communicative, I use that to help break the tie in terms of how they were, to work with as an illustrator. So, if they kind of were like, whatever, they just like, blow off their deadline and they were like, whatever, and everything. And there's a tie. I'm going to go with the person who was, a more professional illustrator to work with versus somebody that just didn't really care. I didn't
know that, but that's good to know.
Yeah, that's how I break. That's how I would break the tie. And so that's why Maliva and I said, we're set up. We kind of set up the deadline system, and so that if they need to extend the deadline, we actually go through a system of they ask for an extension, and we do it that way if they need more time. So that's how we determine who would break the tie. I mean, how would we break the tie if there was a tie? So
I've never heard that before. That's good to know. That makes sense.
So it's not just based on my favorites, actually based on like a professional demeanor.
That's
so
good.
There's a lot of good stuff. What do you mean, Jack? My favorite one out of the 4 or 5? I don't know. You know what? Hold on. I think I do. There's some story that has stuck with me. Was it? No, it wasn't last year. I think it was the year before. And it was, I think, like the first or second story to it. Really, I don't know why it stuck with me. Oh, it's about some little girl hiding a monster in her house. I don't know why this is stuck with me. It's just. I want to say it was book 37.
Yeah, which story was that? That's familiar.
It's I don't know why it's just stuck in my head.
37.
Every now and then a story gets stuck in my head. Actually, there's a couple that I read. So if y'all ever get the group of L. Ron Hubbard stuff where like on the pad or something, they have all the old artwork on it, or I should say retro artwork on it. And just like any other thing, some of the covers, you just have to read the book when you see the cover. Or in my case, some of them I got to listen to, some of them I had to read. No, I wasn't even nowhere near close when that pad got stolen. I think I was a third of the way through, maybe, give or take. Maybe a little.
That was called Agatha's Monster, and that's by Azure Arthur. Agatha's Monster.
I don't know why that story it stuck with me then, and it stuck with me now. It's I have no idea why. Every now and then, and there was one from the first book I did with y'all.
Is it in 37?
It was 30. Yeah, that was in 37, pretty sure. But there was 1, 2, and 36 that stuck with me.
Well, that's volume 38 there, Agatha's Monster. That's the one with the mammoth.
Oh, okay, it's 38.
On the
right.
cover. Yeah, that's number 38.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's the year that Zane Lodi won the grand prize Illustrator winner.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one my husband's story's in.
Yeah.
Well, people, you get out there, submit. That's all I can. You can't win if you don't. I say this. If I had $1 for every time I said this, I could retire like 3 years ago. If you don't submit, you can't win. I was just telling this to a host, one of our hosts who's an illustrator. I mean, not illustrator, author. I said, if you don't submit, you can't win. There it is. Yeah. I said, yeah, you have to submit to win. I said, they're not telepathic. They're not going to pick you out of the sky. Just pick. And then I was talking to 2 friends who have stuff that are already done. I was like, well, submit it. I said, go read the rules first before you submit it, but then submit it.
I like having there's a lot of different styles in the illustrators.
There is.
That's the grand prize winner, the one of the magician guy there.
Yeah, this one.
That was the grand prize winner that year.
Yeah.
That's one thing that's really a big change since you've taken over is the total difference in styles.
Well, it's supposed to be the illustrators of the future, and it has to, you don't know what the future is going to be until, I wanted to have a wide variety of styles. So when all the pieces come in, I get all the entries and I have to send 8 of them over to the judges. And so I like to send just a variety of different styles over, even if they aren't my personal taste, as long as they have, a good sense of composition and of a good sense of their style. I send them over and, we'll see who gets through. So we end up with just such a diverse selection of illustrations.
No, it's awesome. It's totally awesome. Yeah.
No group ever looks the same. They're just, they go from a very line arty style to like very realistic or painterly. We had a lot more traditional artists this year than we've had in the past, which is cool.
Yeah, and one thing too that was different this year was how much that all the illustrators just bonded together. They became like a real strong team. Because I opened up to have on the night after, on Friday night, the day after the gala, I said, okay, anybody wants to come up for a recorded podcast? I had pretty much most of the authors, none of the illustrators, because they all went out to wherever they went to for dinner just to be able their last meal together, and they all wanted to be together. And so that was like, I've never seen that before. They were so like tight as a group, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, it's a really, I started with y'all, what, 36, 36, 37, 38, 30. Yeah, yeah. So this is by far been the best group that I've dealt with. And I don't want to hate on 36 and 37 because I mean I was coming in from COVID and it was double time and there was a lot of people there. So, but for some reason this group was both authors and illustrators were very fluid, very comfortable.
Well, one thing you changed something this year though, Joe. You had everybody on as a guest before coming out, so they were already, the ice was already broken with them. They did a little 15-minute, segment.
30 minutes. Yeah, it was really nice. It was really nice doing that way because when I got there, I got to take care of some bigger interviews like Orson and Pat and a few others that I wanted to get out of the way and a few other judges. And then I also got to hit like the big winners. And because I wanted to talk to the big winners simply about, what it was like to win. So those weren't as long as I would like, but like I said, I'm getting Carmen back to get them back for a little bit longer interviews. But it really made a difference in who I was going to interview and how I was going to interview. It also gave me more quality time with all of the judges. So I usually always get to talk with the judges, but it's usually not like I like to. There's usually too much stuff going on besides. I usually have interviews set up or I'm looking for certain interviews. So this year it made it way easier, even though the only two that got away from me that were on schedule was Dean and Todd. And I wanted to get them together to ease the suckers. Sorry about that, guys. He was, we're talking about Todd McCaffrey and Wesley Dean Smith, but they're characters when they're together. They gave me because that was the first year I ever seen y'all was with them, and actually watching them guys showed me something about y'all I didn't even realize that you did give opposing sides, and that was a big plus for me. I was like, well, shit. They're showing them both ways because, I wasn't an author. I knew this much about an author at the time. I know a lot more now, and still I know this much. But regardless, it made me realize that, look, both of them sounded good. You know what they were arguing about most of the time was that stupid banner Todd had brought with him. And Dean's like, you don't need these. And, questions were going back and forth to him, back and forth. It brought in a big response from the people sitting in the class. I mean, a big one. And it made them really, because when they started going back and forth, it made the class feel like, well, we can get in on this. And they did. They got in on it. I was quite impressed. So it opened up a lot of questioning. It showed two different approaches to this particular field, and both approaches work. So pick what fits you best and go.
Yeah, because you've got like Tim Powers, Orson Scott Card, some of those guys that are traditional. Jody Lanai. Yeah. They're like, we're in tradition.
Jody is I always like interviewing Jody. She is such a sweetie pie.
Yeah.
She's I was picking on Bill when we were past it. Good thing you married to this woman. And anyway, I like to pick on him about it, but she's always such a sweetie. And she still holds our Yahoo record for y'all right now, too, for Writers of the Future. So I was impressed. She's over everybody by quite a bit, too. Wow. And she flows real good on screen. She's got a good voice, and you can tell she's very knowledgeable. And what I like is just like what echoed a couple of them when I ask a question, should I go get a cup of coffee, make a sandwich, come back, and they're like me. They can talk, and what they're saying is important, good quality stuff. So it's not just jibber jabber, and it's a big difference to me because I can interview any author on the planet and get a bunch of jibber jabber about stuff I'm completely not interested in, or anybody else listening for that matter. It's why these two shows are doing so well. It's why Echo's going to do so well in between us. Because people more and more, I get emails saying, "Oh, I enjoy coming. Your guests are way quality. These are people. These are winners." What did that lady write to me? Y'all have all winners and no losers. I started laughing. I said, "Well, let's give us a chance here, sweetie. We're still gonna have some other."
We're not gonna do. We don't do losers. We're not in. We're celebrating the arts, so we're celebrating that the arts. You win with the arts.
Yeah, and okay.
I just wanted to say, John, I got an email from one of the winners who identifies as non-binaries. They specifically thanked me for making them feel very comfortable and welcome there. So they wanted to thank everyone for how comfortable they felt for being there.
They did. And so once I realized I was fine, it took me like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, they specifically felt they felt very comfortable, and welcomed. So just wanted to let you know that.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, because I make no pretenses about, I'm old school. When I look at a body and I see a female body, it's a she, and I've only had it once where someone made a real issue about it like that. For them, that was a big deal. And that's one out of however many years. But when people get that, we're celebrating the arts. It's that every one of them is just as special as the other. There's nobody that's not special. And like I loved Cal's acceptance speech, Cal P, from Malaysia. Remember when I first scheduled her to have her on media, and I called her, we drilled for like an hour and what to do. And she's so shy. And she said, what about this? And what about that? And this, that, here, the other thing. And I said, okay, that's fine. Well, you won because you're good. Just realize that. That's the simple truth of it. And so by the time she left, she's one of the writers, was like, her acceptance speech was like, I was accepted. I was just me. It wasn't a matter of having to be somebody else. It was just me. And the illustrators, the same thing. It's like, because it's blind judging, there's nothing else like that out there in either writer or illustrator world of judging in competitions, because everybody, at some point there's a giveaway to what the person is, how old they are, what nationality, what ethnic, what sex, whatever it is, that can then sway judges. And we have none of that. So
no, absolutely not. There's no ageism or anything. We don't know what country they're in. We don't know what anything.
Yeah. And so we had, I remember the one year, I forget his name right now, it was half a dozen years or so. He was like 73. He was an illustrator winner. And Nancy Cartwright presented the award to him.
Yeah.
And he was just like, my granddaughter is going to love me now. Being presented by Bart Simpson.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
She was great. She's
I got to present with her twice. She's awesome.
Yeah.
She was, and she talks to anybody. She's a really nice lady.
Yeah.
Somebody, I was talking to somebody just a couple months ago about that. I said, yeah, I interviewed Bart Simpson. They're like, what? Wait, what? He's a cartoonist. And first off, he's not even easy. I was like, and then this lady, oh my God, I love her. It's amazing to me how many people know all about her. That's kind of funny, actually.
She's super nice too.
Yeah, and she is super nice. She is. But he's nice. I mean, most of the people I've met over there are pretty laid back, pretty nice people. They're comfortable in what they do. So I guess it makes it easier. And she's very successful. So, I mean, what are you going to tell her? You suck, really? Come on. I think she just slapped you right back with that. I don't know, but I always have a good time. I always get a lot of good interviews. And this year, like I said, were particular good interviews. And there's a lot of good stuff. Plus, we added in some stuff this year that not necessarily is going to go with Writer's Future. It'll be in its own separate category. But there was, and we'll probably start doing that more often. But there's just a lot of interviews that came out of there. Not just mine, not just John's. There was other interviews that were done that were pretty good. And I know I seen, who was it on that blonde-headed lady the other day? Oh, I can't even think of her damn name.
Well, we had Catherine Raker, who was here. Yeah. She's got a radio network, Let's Just Talk. And Let's Just Talk with Catherine Raker. She's got TV and radio. She's huge. She's got a mega, easily as big as yours, Joe. But hers it's a Christian radio network. And I remember the first couple of years, I've been with her for like 10 years or so. And it took a while to like warm up, to the whole thing. But now she's as vocal about the, pro contest as you are. And she this is the first time she came this year. She's wanted to come for 3 years and various things that would happen. So she finally made it this year and just had so much fun interviewing the people that she interviewed. And she's only there for like 2 days.
Yeah. Her and I had a long talk about you. So it's Carmen introduced us and I was waiting on something and she was waiting on something. So we actually sat there and talked for about an hour and a half. And she's a very nice lady. I mean, she said, oh, what do you do? I said, I do this. And I said, Gene Reskin owns the Christian network in Tennessee. He overlays our network over his. She's like, why? I said, you'd have to ask him that. I said, I don't know why he does that. I said, he pays us so he can do it. I said, but and this was a Baptist preacher forever. And just one day, I guess he just went dark side. I don't know what it was. But I said, if you ever run into him, watch him. I said, because he'll start snowing you up how Christian he is. And next thing he'll be telling you devil's your best friend and stuff. I said, so keep an eye out on it. But no, we talked about a lot of different things. And because she asked me why I was involved. And I told her the whole story. And she said, I kind of was the same way. I was like, yeah, well, you learn like I did. They're what they say they are, which is such a nice thing. I'm telling you, if I had a dollar for every time I was disappointed, I could be retired, living in the Bahamas, have my own personal harem, man. Jesus. It's that's why I tell people now when people call me and ask me, we come here, come there, we come. I said, maybe said, why don't you send me some information? I said, you got any video feeds? You got any tapes y'all done? And when they start telling me, well, we haven't really done anything live like that, I'm like, why? I said, oh, I don't know. I said, if you don't have nothing you can send me, I said, I don't know if it's actually worth the effort to come down. I just got asked to go down to Miami. I was like, some contest down there. I was like, I said, I've never even heard of it. And when I looked them up online, they weren't even showing up online. I was like, okay, and who are you? I said, no. I said, well, we'll pay. I said, it's not about being paid. I said, I'll just endorse people randomly, man. I said, why don't you listen to some of my shows? You'll figure that out. I said, yeah. I said, send me some stuff. Send me how it went this year. Send me some private interviews. Show me that it's something that actually matters. And I ain't never heard back from them since. So I'm not going to worry about it. I think it was one of those, somebody that was looking for. I think what they wanted to do is use me to bounce off of y'all, to be honest with you. Because they were doing Arthur's. But the way he kept talking to me, it just sounded like, oh, no, you want to use us you want to say, oh, yeah, I've got the media down here from Writers of the Press and blah, blah, blah. I knew where that was going right off the bat. So, I mean, y'all are rising, your stars rising all the way around. I mean, it's just a good place to be. Y'all are comfortable. Lots of people sending in, lots of winners. And again, Marcy, you have to submit to win. Yes. How many times I said that in this one show? And just, writersofthefuture.com to submit. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, no, writersofthefuture.com to submit. Just go over there. I always tell everybody the same thing because lately a lot of y'all have been telling y'all have books. Well, that's good. I'm glad. You can't be a professional and just go read the rules.
It's free to submit 4 times a year.
But read the rules before you submit stuff that you shouldn't be submitting. Don't make these people have to read stuff. No AI.
And if you're an artist, go to the writersofthefuture.com and go to the blog. And take a look. It's like maybe 10 blogs or so ago. We did a post with all the winning art from all the 12 winners, so you can see what did they have to submit in order to win. And then when you get the book and look at the final art there, you see now that's, and then you find out what was the winning piece of art in there. Now you don't have to good you have to be to actually be the grand prize winner. But all these artists now that are published in Writers of the Future, they're not professionally published artists of a best-selling book. So it puts them into a whole new league now as an illustrator, and it changes what they can actually promote themselves as. But to know what kind of art they submitted to win the contest, go to the writersofthefuture.com blog and look back. I did about 10 posts or so, and you'll see the 3 pieces of art that each of the 12 winners submitted to win the contest.
But even if you think you're not good enough, just submit anyway. Because I've heard a lot of them say, I didn't think I was good enough, and they were afraid to submit. Just submit anyway, because the worst case scenario is you get an honorable mention or something, and then submit again the next quarter. So just keep submitting. Submit illustrations over just still images. Preferably they're illustrations. They tell a story of some sort. It should be 3 images. It could be color or black and white. Not AI though. Make sure they're your images, not somebody else's images.
Yep.
Don't just download someone else's art. They have to be your art. You can submit images that are you can send in images if you don't want to send them in digitally, if you're afraid of that. If you're afraid of AI stealing your art off of the internet, you can use something called Glaze to protect it. If you're worried about AI, copying your images, just look up Glaze, something called Glaze, Glaze, and you can run that program on it, and it'll scramble it so AI can't copy your image. And that'll protect it from AI's copying it. Then it'll be safe to send over the internet. If you haven't heard of that. Yep. It's called Glaze. There's also one called Nightshade, which will poison the AI software. So you can look them up online. And a lot of artists use those before posting them online. They'll keep your images safe so the AI can't read them. So
just to your point there of don't you're your worst enemy. Self-invalidation is like the worst thing you can have there. But one of our judges, Craig Elliott, who I mentioned to you, and you were like totally disbelieving. In fact, we talked about it in the podcast that just aired, was he never entered the contest because he didn't think he was good enough. Yet he's the art director for Disney, Netflix. He's doing a big thing right now with Marvel. He's amazing.
I couldn't believe he told me he didn't enter because he didn't think he was good enough. I believe that too, because I know Craig.
He's so humble.
He's so humble. So just enter, because no one's going to look at the piece that you entered and be like, oh my goodness, that's terrible. That no one will look at it and think anything of it. So just, please just enter them. I'll get them. And then, if I will, you get an honorable mention, or, if you don't get in, or,
the worst that's going to happen is you're going to get an email saying, thank you very much for entering. Please submit again. That's the worst.
That's the worst that will happen. Yeah. And just because you didn't get in, it might mean that we got a lot of entries this quarter. So enter again next quarter. And if you don't have anything new, enter the same pieces next quarter. That's okay. You can do that too. We just might, some quarters we get a lot of entries, and some we get less. So sometimes I look at some entries and I go, oh, I hope this person enters next quarter. Please enter again. So just keep entering.
Yeah.
Enter till you win, people.
Mm-hmm. Or pro out.
Or pro out.
Yeah. And don't think you can't win even after you've gone a while. I know a couple of those winners have gone quite a while.
Yeah, well, some of our writer winners have gone 20, 30 years entering before they finally win. There's a lot of competition.
Matter of fact, one of the visitors says this year, 42 or 46 entries, 41. Hey, he's persistent. He stayed persistent. He won. So just teaches you if you're persistent, you'll win. Illustrators tend to be a little younger. Don't ask me why. Maybe they're just more ambitious when they're younger. Maybe with authors, they need to mature somewhat. Maybe just not mature is not the right word. Maybe they need to live life a little bit before they can actually write a good story. At least that's what they do.
It's a matter of mastering grammar, mastering English to be able to, because they're both hard, technologies to be able to master. But for whatever reason, we have observed younger people being able to win illustrators of the future and master the technology, especially when you get into Photoshop type stuff. But like you said, Echo, this year there's a lot of people that do traditional, just beautiful art. What's the name? The Zan, the other Chinese girl, not Karina.
How come when you mention names, I just go right out of my head?
My brain does the same thing. Somebody else, I was like,
Mei Zhang.
Yeah.
She is an amazing artist I think she does oil. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yes, I'm always impressed with people who do oil.
And she's just 20. She just turned 20. It's like, and Karina is now a freshman in college and is just like doing so well. She was, Karina's it's a fun story with her because she was so inspired by one of our judges from New Zealand. Yeah. And so she's saying, she even put it in her bio, how much she really liked all the different work and what he was able to do. And so, what I'm talking about there is all these names everywhere. That's Sean. Sean
People, we got a lot of names in our head for that. Yeah. John's got more than I do. It's crazy.
So I wrote to him, and he said, "Yeah." So I sent him the picture with her and recorded a video that I sent to him, and he responded the last day, and I gave that to her. I don't know what she said back to me, but she was like so over the moon because he was the reason why she entered the contest. That he's her inspiration, and it's great seeing the impact that artists have on other artists. The inspiration in what you do to aspiring artists to make them want to strive for, achieving more. Same thing with the writers, being able to meet their heroes, the Larry Nivens, Orson Scott Card, Brandon Sanderson, these guys here, people like, wow, I just met blah. Obviously Larry Elmore is a hero for a lot of people that are, we were just talking about her earlier on this show here, who was totally inspired by Larry Elmore.
April Sullivan.
Oh, yeah.
April liked to brought him to tears twice. I'm pretty sure one time she did, in a good way, people, not in a bad way.
No, but she's got the T-shirt art this year for the blood drive for Dragon Con.
The Dragon Con. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was really
at Dragon Con and at Gen Con. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, people get a Dragon Con. I'm gonna come visit this year because since John's introduced me to Pat the last year, Pat and I hit it off pretty good for some reason.
Oh, you're gonna be at Dragon Con?
Yes, and Jody asked me if I'd do something with her. So I said I'm gonna see what that's about. And
good, because I'll be at Dragon Con.
That's good. Really good to see you. And
so we'll get the invitation for our judge dinner as well. So I'll get that out there so we can make sure we plan on that and have you keep your dance card open for that night.
Yes.
Yep. And since I'll be producing my show at Dragon Con, you're going to be doing that with me.
It's always good stuff. Guys, what do you mean you never heard of Dragon Con? And where do you live? What? Well, before I even ask you, do you live in the United States? Let me ask you that.
You live in a box.
Wait a minute. You're so full of... Okay, dude. I'm not even messing with you anymore. You live in Atlanta and you've never heard of Dragon Con.
In a box?
In a train or something. What are you talking about? Dragon Con's held in Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Takes over the entire downtown.
Yeah, the reason you can't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that was the name of the place that took over the 5 hotels?
With the parade, the reason you can't go downtown.
You need to share with the rest of us. That's all I got to say. I don't even know what to think about people like you. I got a couple friends going to be there as well this year, and then I see how they do. And I think April said she's going to try to be there. She was waiting to find out if she was going to be there, I think is what she told me. And somebody else told me that too. So you never... Well, last 2 times, I never even got to see that because Jody said, why don't you come see me? I said, because I couldn't even find y'all. I said I was hanging out with John, then I got lost, and then I was over there doing interviews with the cosplays, and then got interviewed myself, which I wasn't even expecting.
Well, John is downstairs from me. I'm upstairs from John.
And then, that last time I was with them, I got interviewed because Ancient Aliens had dropped something 2 nights before I showed up there. So I didn't realize that they'd been on TV with Ancient Aliens 2 nights before I got this. So when I was over interviewing the cosplay girls, a bunch of people recognized me. I was like, I kind of looking behind me like, what y'all doing back there, people? You better get away from me. I don't like people standing behind me. So I was interviewing the little girl, and she said, can I have your autograph? I said, well, what do you mean can I? I said, I'm interviewing you. She said, no, Mr. Josh, seen you on TV last night. I was like, what? Or night before last. I said, where? She said, on Ancient Aliens. She said, you were schooling them people. I was like, oh, you see, I hate when they do that. They should tell us. Same thing with Discovery just the other day. I'm in the bank doing something. These 2 ladies walk up to me, start talking to me. And I'm like, hi, we seen you on Discovery. I'm like, when? Because this aired like 2 years ago. Oh, just the other night. They could at least drop me an email and say, hey, Joe, you're going to be on. Because anytime it happens, or like they re-aired they had done a full page ad on me in the New York Times. I mean, in New Orleans Times. They gave me the whole living section. The whole page was mine. So just recently, they did a blast from the past and put it in my whole thing. And this skull is actually in that ad. And I'm like, so I was somewhere. I was at Rouse's, not Rouse's, at Zapardo's going to get me a muffalata, Central Grocery muffalata. And like 5 or 6 people staring at me. I'm like, and my son's going, Dad, did you just piss off a bunch of people not telling me? And I'm like, I don't know. So, and then they started following us. We went to go sit down to eat, and they're following us around. So the guy walks up and he says, can I have your autograph? I'm like, why? And
what did he do?
He said, because I saw you on TV. I'm like, really? Oh, no. And then he goes, the guy said, not TV. We seen you in the newspapers. And there was a bunch of them by this time. Because you can't, anytime you get in the Times picking you can't walk around the city. You got to wait like a week or 2. Because if not everywhere you go, the President Bank came out to see me. She's like, hey, Joe, how you doing? I said, last time this happened, the President Bank came out to see me. She said, I didn't know you was into this kind of stuff. There's a lot of weird shit goes on this. I said, yeah, I know. Trust me, if anybody knows, I know. I was in time. Matter of fact, a friend of mine, cop walks up out of the blue. I'm like, did you piss this cop off? Can I have your autograph? I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, sure. It's weird because New Orleans will not, if you're a big rock star or something, or a big movie star, they will not ask you for your autograph. But if you're just like a nobody like me that's local, oh yeah, they'll ask you all day long just to aggravate you.
Oh, wow.
It's a weird thing. And then I came home and on the coast, I'm filling up my car with gas. 3 different people walked up and asked if they had an autograph. I'm like, sure, it's not worth anything. It's not like I'm famous. Well, you're pretty famous. There's a lot of people seeing you. Then the Times calls me next day. Oh, we just wanted to let you know we did a blast from the past. I was like, You could have let me know the day before, right? Not the day after, man. Yeah, but it's fun. You get used to that kind of stuff. And I got a bunch of things we're filming this year. So next, and it's always fun to me because anytime I film with Prometheus, I know it's going to be 6 months to a year before I ever see it. And they always promise me they're going to tell me. And then usually the day of, like 10 minutes before, I'll get an email. Oh, it's getting ready to drop. I'm like, really? And we do a good bit of stuff for Discovery and history. But unbelievably or not, I've been doing a lot of politics lately. Not exactly sure how I fell into that one. And it's hard. I mean, being a centralist and being in the South is not always a good thing. It'd be like being a centralist and being in the North. It still wouldn't be a good thing. But it's fun. I will say it's fun and it pays good. Christopher, no, you got a couple of questions because we got to go. Well, nobody's following us, but we got to go. Echo starts next week at 3 p.m. Central Time.
Yes.
That would be 1 her time and 5 y'all's time. Yes.
And we're gonna, figure out how to find a way to put it so that people can ask questions ahead of time, right, John?
Yes.
Yeah.
So y'all will be there to see what's going on, and no, I'll be producing her show, so there won't be no craziness. And then
there'll be craziness.
Yes, well, she'll be craziness. I'll just be sitting there minding my own business at the bottom of the screen where you can't see me. So, yeah, you can never see the. What do you mean, Cat? No, you can never see the producers. The producers are always at the bottom. And once she gets used to it, we won't even be there except at the start and the end. Yeah, unless we're presenting stuff. Yes, because she's got a lot of artwork and stuff to present. I mean, she got a lot of stuff. There's 2 archives with her that we got through a lot of her stuff. But I mean, there's 2 archives where we went through a lot of your artwork. There's a lot of it. It's a lot available. You can go see hers. Just go to her website, but. It's also, while we're talking about it, she's actually describing how things happened and why she thought about this and why we did that and things like that. Yes. Well, it's the best way to learn who an artist is to listen to how they talk about their artwork. It really is. John, what do you mean? John just told you he's going to be at Dragon Con. He don't swing that way, so don't even ask that question.
And San Diego, you can be at San Diego Comic Con too, right?
San Diego.
Well, San Diego first, right? It's San Diego, then Dragon Con.
July, I think 21st. My guess will be there.
I'll be at San Diego as well.
Good.
Yes. If I was hoping I'd be out there because I'm supposed to be filming for Prometheus sometime soon, but they're just kind of like they always are. Well, that's not even them; it's the other company. It's just maybe LA, maybe DC. Maybe New York, which I don't really care. Well, I'd rather be LA because I would go see everybody while I was out there, and because Josie and the Pussycats wants to take me on a tour. So where she went? Oh, to Bright. That's where she wants to take me. Or Bridge. I'm sorry, I'm saying Bright Bridge. And I'm always learning things, people. That's why I like to travel. I'm not going to quit learning things until they put me in the ground. And even then, I might be learning some stuff. Well, here your brain lives for another 3 days. So you'll be.
Yeah, you keep growing, especially if
that's
you
right.
the tree in you, and then you can keep growing, right?
Yep.
Yes. Echo's up there somewhere between. She's really close to Canada. We'll just say that. Yes, she's. I'm telling you, she might as well be Canuck. She's that close to it. I mean, it probably ain't more than 30-minute drive to the line.
I have a physical gallery in Fairhaven, Washington.
Yes. So
that's near Bellingham. So if you're up in this area, we have a physical gallery up here. You can
stop by. Yeah, so you can actually go look and buy stuff. You can put your hand. No, you don't put your hands on it, but
you can put my hands on my prints and galleries. That's where I am now.
Yes.
The giant golden wings.
It's well, everybody's somewhere. I mean, right now we're in 3 different states. I mean, John's in California, she's in Washington, I'm in Mississippi. So broadcasting from 3 different areas. Yeah, it's one of the things that's nice about these systems, and they're seamless, quiet, work well. So this is the Arthur's Quill. Echo hasn't told me no name for her show yet, so we're gonna have to wait and see.
Oh, I'm working on it.
And then she'll make a show, and I don't have to. Normally, I'd say, don't forget you got to make a banner, but I'm not even going to worry about that.
I'm working on that too.
I think if she can make a banner. If not, I'll give her Pick Monkey if she can. But, Josh, we give Pick Monkey to, how can I say this politely, the untalented host. Yes, I just cheat. I go ask one of these artists I know that if they'll make me a banner. No, Jeff. No, Jeff did the UFO on the cover banner was an accident. He was just trying to prove a point to me while we were live on air. He says, look, I want to show you how this works. And he blah, 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 blah. He types in, And this freaking banner came out, and I was like, son of a bitch, no wonder y'all scared. I was like, yeah, I still use it today, yes. I can't own it, but I still use it.
I'm making a banner. It's not going to have AI in it.
Sooner or later, somebody will make me a better one, and I'll retire that one, yes. I don't have time for that kind of stuff. John is always busy. Yes. He's always busy. And if he's not busy, the other half I'm going to make sure he's busy. Yes. So we're not even going to go there. No, it's Emily, and Emily is she stays as busy as she can. She likes to stay busy. Mm-hmm. Well, because they're always preparing for something. Just, even when they have a break and they're at the office, they're still getting ready to go here or do this or do that or deal with this little minor disaster. Well, they got a lot of stuff that goes on. Writers of the future just don't pop up magically. And besides that, they got a lot of other stuff that goes on in between. A lot of visits. Y'all still got somebody that goes to Canada?
Yeah, we're going to have 2 people going up to Toronto Comic Con. But right now, Emily, working with Mitch, is working on setting up all these bookstore signings for all the winners.
Yep. They work really hard to promote the book, to make sure it's a New York Times bestseller, and really, keep supporting all of the winners to help launch their careers. So
that's such a nice thing, because half these people would probably be too scared to call up a bookstore and say, "Hey, can I come sit in your lobby and sign books, or can I come sit at your door and sign books?"
We do. So we have that going, and then we're getting a lot of great media, really big.
Yes, a lot of good media. I actually got several nice letters from people this year. I got a couple of nice letters from people last year too, which was nice. Somebody she wrote to me. She goes, "Well, now I'm not scared to go to the media. You told me just what to do if there are no good SOBs." I said, "Yeah, you don't ever let them have the hand. It's your book, it's your life. You deal with it. Don't let them take over." That's good advice for anybody, people. Yes, just when someone starts to make fun of you, you don't have to sit there and take it. And you don't have to fight back. Fighting back. I always tell this to people for one reason. If you've been around a long time, you've been in the industry a long time, whatever industry it is, you might have a chance to fight back against an experienced host. But getting in an argument with me, with 30 years of media behind me, and just a smartass in general, it could be bad for your career. I could make you look really bad really fast without even really trying. I could actually do it accidentally sometimes. So I always recommend that you just don't deal with people like that. Look at your interviews. I always tell people the same thing. It's always good advice. Go look at who you're going to do an interview with ahead of time. We all have archives up there. See how the person handles itself. See if they're going to ambush you. See if they're going to really read your book or not. And Jesse, I read about half the books that are sent to me, and sometimes not even half. But I do cheat sometimes and give them to Linda. Never read them. And maybe some. Well, hey, you have to sometimes. Or I ask them to be sent to me in audio, so it's easier on me like that. No, I don't have to lie about it, because I don't really have to know what's in the book for somebody to sell their book. They have to know what's in their book and how to sell their book. Yes, that's why I always tell people, especially new authors, start in the middle. Yeah, don't tell me the beginning. Don't tell me the end. Just tell me the middle. That's all I need to know. Something that'll attract my attention that's in the middle of the book. So that gives me cause to read the front novel, because some of them like to flirt around with the beginning and get kind of close to the end. Well, you know what? Humans are smarter than you think they are. Sometimes they just figure it out, and then they don't go buy your book. Mm-hmm. And again, I've said this 100 times. I've bought many, many books because of its cover. Some were good, some were not so good.
Don't use AI art covers.
That's right. Don't use AI for anything.
No, don't use AI art covers.
Yes, no, down with AI. We're gonna become a down with AI network.
And don't say you have to use AI for the cover because I couldn't afford an artist.
Yes, we don't use AI for nothing on this network. There's no reason for it. We don't have any need for it. We like to do things old school. Fingers on. Any more questions? We got to go. It's past my bedtime. I'm gonna turn into a pumpkin or something. Ooh, look at that one. See, I'm waiting for artwork like these. That's the whole reason I wanted to come on the network. Oh no, there's a collection. She's got a really cool collection that her and I went through one night. I can't tell you where it is on YouTube. You'd have to go dig it up. Just type in her last name, it'll come up. On that note, we got to go. Yes, you can stop by and say, John, hi. Okay, I'm going to say this and then we're out of here. It doesn't matter what con they're at. You can stop by and say hi.
Yep.
Be polite, be courteous, wait in line like everybody else does. Do not aggravate Sarah because she might hurt you. Other than that, you can do, and don't look at her in the eyes because you'll buy something. I'm trying to help you people. No, I'm just
always
teasing.
come by and say hi. Over
Oh, yeah,
there.
they're always great, and it doesn't matter. You can stop by and see them, and if there's any authors or any illustrators you've seen on here that are there, stop by and say hi. Mention where you've seen them at too. By the way, say, hey, I was watching such and such, and when they said come by and see you. Yeah,
Bring
go
your
see
book to
it.
get signed.
Yeah, bring your book to get signed, or buy a book to get signed. One or the other.
Yep.
Buy a piece of artwork to get signed. Yes, don't be bashful. Don't take up all their time, but don't be bashful. They're there to meet people and to make a face to face face to face. So go out there and meet them.
We generally don't get out much, so we like to meet people.
That's right. They only get to go writers of the future, and the rest of the time they're working. Anyway, y'all be sure to come by and check it out. I'll be up at DragonCon hanging out with them. I can't go unless Wichita decides to send me down around the time that'll be down there. If not, probably not. Might go down to Tampa this year. I ain't been to Tampa in a while. My daughter's, one of my granddaughters is down there, so I might go down, kill two birds with one stone.
Or Tampa Comic Con.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to go both of those. I would love to go to FanX, but I don't know because I won't fly. I should fly, but there's just too much gorgeous country along the way. Oh man, there's some just beautiful, especially night skies. There are some beautiful skies and beautiful country.
Oh, we can see the Aurora Borealis tonight.
Oh, that's what I hear. I see you can hear it all the way to the top of Louisiana tonight.
I missed it last night. I didn't get to see it, so we are going out tonight to see it. So
yeah, they said that you can see it as far south as the top of Louisiana.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately,
we missed it last night. I am still going out tonight.
I live at the bottom of the state, so you ain't seeing nothing down here but clouds.
I could probably see the Aurora Borealis in Canada from here.
You probably can. That's how close she is. Hey, well, if you're a Canuck, cross it. You can cross over the line, come down and buy something. They're not going to charge you that much to bring it back.
We get a lot of Canadians that come over to my gallery because we're like literally the bathroom stop before you get to Seattle.
Yes. So come by, buy something, get it signed, take it home with you, hang it on your wall.
And my Instagram is just Echo Chernik, which you can see under my name. If you go to my Instagram, and I don't know where we're going to put up that you can put ideas what you want me to talk about on the show, but you can always
what I'm going to do on this when we're done with this, I'm going to send you another link so we can record a teaser for the podcast, which you just listened to before the show, and for a little thing that you're starting your show, and then I'll put it on Rise to the Future, so that on the social pages that people can then respond to it, and I can forward those to you.
Cool.
So don't forget, people. Next week, 3:00 my time. No, I'm moving to 4:00. I know it's going to confuse y'all for a little while. Yeah, because our first audience is going to probably be like 1.6 million or so. I'm just going to be having a heart attack.
Yeah.
But really, y'all be sure to come check her next Wednesday. I mean, next Saturday. And she'll be on at 3:00 in my slot, right after John, right before me. She's nice and safe spot. That's right. And it's just drop from one. Well, because
I open Saturday. Right?
Yeah.
Starts.
You're opening, but not for long. You won't be opening for long, though. It says somebody coming in before you as well, too.
Okay, good.
And so, what are you talking about? Okay. Michelle DeRoche. Okay. You're going to have to go. I don't even have her email in front of me, but you're going to have to go over to Outer Realm and write to her there. Say that you heard it on this show and write to her. We got very few slots open on the network. Matter of fact, really, it's mostly daytime slots now. You mean Saturday evening? There's one slot open on Saturday evening. It's the gray zone slot, and most people are not going to want to pay to take that slot. So I'm just being upfront with you. But you write to Michelle and ask her. She knows what it costs. And there is some earlier slots on Sunday, and then Monday is already from lunchtime to midnight. That's the day so far, and it's going to probably get earlier than that. And then as we move along, those will fill up too. Yes, well, we have everything. Whether you name it, becoming quantum, being nice to people, how to have a good relationship. We have 4 or 5 PhDs in the network that'll tell you how to do different things in your life. Yes, a couple of bachelors, and then just some everyday normal people who have been doing it for 30 years and stuff. So, and then of course there's paranormal, ghosts, demons, and UFOs, and then there's news. So you name it, it's going to be something there for everybody. What are you talking about? Yes, we have one of the best looking staff in the country. Well, we have to be on TV now, man. We had to get pretty. It ain't like the old days. No, unfortunately, it ain't like the old days. No, I used to. No, we're not even going to get into how I used to do shows back then. But anyway, well, thank you everyone for tuning in to the Author's Quill with John Goodwin and Echo Chernik. Be sure to come check out Echo next week. Of course, John and here, I'll be here as usual. Just come sit and listen, enjoy the show, and see what you learn.
And between now and then, go to galaxypress.com or Amazon, wherever, to get your books and get your copy of L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future, Volume 40.
And don't forget, any moans, groans, bitches, and complaint, address them to Michelle DeRoche. On that note, good night, everybody.
Bye.